might take that journey inside.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Collins Diambo, and welcome again to another episode of Hoop Diaries with Collins, where we talk about basketball mindset growth and things that athletes go through to help them become better players and better people as they continue playing the game. And today's episode is nothing different. We're going to be going into my diary, and I feel like this is something that is really important. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something deep. We are going to be talking about shame. And before you click away thinking, this doesn't apply to me, let me tell you this. A lot of athletes are not struggling because they lack talent. They are struggling because shame has silently affected the way they think, compete, respond to mistakes, communicate, and even remember who they are. Some athletes are physically gifted. They are physically fit mbaya sana, but they are mentally trapped, and I've gone through this. And the crazy thing is that most people don't realize it. So today we are going to unpack a few things to help us overcome this aspect of shame. And I'm speaking from experience, by the way. So how shame affects your performance, how shame affects your memory and confidence, how shame changes the way athletes handle corrections, losses, and pressure, where shame comes from, and most importantly, how to break free from it starting today. Okay, so tuende kazi, let's dive into it. Now, before we go into anything, remember to subscribe. Now, what is shame? Shame is deeper than embarrassment. So here's an example. It can be like embarrassment says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am the mistake. Unaona hiyo difference? And many athletes are carrying shame without realizing. Mi nimekuwa hapo for a long time. Maybe you missed our game winning shot, and every time you shoot in crunch time, your body tightens up. Maybe the coach embarrasses you in front of a team. Unaona? Maybe your parent compared you with other, with your siblings, or with other athletes growing up. I mean, it can be something as simple as teammates laughing at your mistakes, because you don't know how to do a specific thing. And I've seen that. Maybe you got cut from the team. Maybe you are told that you're soft, you're too skinny, you're fat, you're short, you're slow, you're too tight. You come to the game, and then maybe you're given the kit. Then another player comes in and they're given the kit. They're like, buda toa kit yako bro, kunumsemeka. And now every time you play basketball, you're not just playing the game, you are fighting memories. Think about that. How shame affects memory and performance. One thing I've learned is that shame also affects memory. And this is so powerful for us as athletes, because basketball is a game of reaction. Confidence, instinct, and quick decision making. But when shame enters an athlete's mind, it creates fear. And fear affects how the brain functions. That's why some players, not all players, will forget plays under pressure. You'll train the same thing each and every day, but they'll still forget. They'll panic during games. They'll overthink simple decisions. I've been there. They'll hesitate when they're open. I've been there. You lose confidence after one mistake, or you even struggle to recover mentally after some form of failure. And this is not because you're untalented, it's because shame has trained your brain to fear mistakes. A player who has been constantly shamed becomes super and hyper aware of failure. So instead of you playing freely, you play cautiously. Instead of you going to the court and expressing yourself, what you've been working on, you end up hiding because you want to play it safe. It's because of shame. Instead of you learning through your mistakes, you fear mistakes. And basketball is the thing. Basketball punishes hesitation. The best players are not perfect players. They are free players. So your goal is to become a free player. Okay. Now, let us talk about the source of shame in athletes. In this particular case, let us just be honest and talk about where shame comes from. sometimes it comes from home. Like for me personally, I experienced it. Shame came from home, manze, sana, because I wasn't passing like my siblings. So I was compared to other siblings. Funny thing, at the end of it all, I'm the one who performed better. The only thing is, unabaki na hapo ka shame. And it's like, you are loved when they approve you. Like, hapo ndo unajua I'm loved. And you feel like, if I don't perform, I lose bad. Sometimes it comes from coaches who correct you through humiliation instead of teaching you. Coaches who will scream at you, tell you stuff like, you're useless. I'm just giving you just because so-and-so is not here. Or so-and-so has been, has an injury. You're soft. You can't think. You're slow. And after hearing that repeatedly, an athlete starts believing that internally. And sometimes it comes even from our school environments. I went through that. A teacher embarrassing you publicly. Classmates laughing at you. You understand? There's a time I got 20 to 40 for composition and I was celebrating. And I remember the teacher telling me, wacha celebrate sana, nilikuwa kitu kubwa. Nimekupea tu 20 because I had pity on you. And as you grow, this is something that you carry on even when you get to the court. Okay. Now, some athletes are not angry people. They're just ashamed people. Some athletes are not lazy. They are afraid of failing publicly again. Some athletes are not quiet because they lack leadership. They are quiet because shame has taught them that their voice is not safe. Okay, now, how shame affects team dynamics? Hapa ndio sama mwina chemka sasa. Because shame doesn't just affect performance, it affects relationships too. A shame-driven athlete is someone who, for example, takes correction personally, gets defensively easily, cannot communicate openly, struggles to trust their teammates, avoids accountability, is afraid to look weak, pretends to be okay when they're actually struggling. And this destroys teams' chemistry because basketball requires some level of vulnerability. Understand? You have to be coachable, you have to be able to communicate, and then, this is very important, you have to fail publicly and recover quickly. But shame makes athletes hide, and hidden pain eventually shows up in behavior. Sometimes the teammate who always gets angry is actually terrified of being exposed. Sometimes the athlete with an attitude problem is carrying years of shame and criticism internally. So it's good to understand your teammates, but it's by you first understanding the sources of shame. One of the biggest traps athletes fall into is attaching identity to performance. I talked about this in another video. If I don't score, I don't matter. If I don't start the game, I'm not valuable. If I fail, I'm nothing. If I miss a shot, I'm a bad shooter. And that is dangerous because basketball has its ups and downs. You must be able to learn how to adjust. You cannot build your identity on stats because one bad game will destroy you emotionally. And you've seen that. Your value as a human being must be bigger than your performance as an athlete. That is how elite players stay stable mentally. Okay, they compete hard, but they're not destroyed by their mistakes because their identity is rooted deeper than the game. Okay, now with all this said, let me share some practical ways you can start applying today to help you overcome this thing of shame. Okay, or to approach it in a much better way. So, how do athletes heal from shame? Here are some practical steps you can apply immediately. Number 1, separate mistakes from identity. Missing a shot does not make you a failure. A turnover is an event. It is not your identity. Learn to say, I made a mistake, not I'm terrible. Nimeuza. In fact, even get to a point where at times you don't even apologize. That's something I had to work on. Because now, that shifted matters for me. From an event to ball imeenda ama nimemiss. We move on to the next thing. You understand? The second thing is stop rehearsing negative memories. Many athletes replay failures constantly. Nimekuwa hapo bro. But elite athletes have a short memory. Elite athletes replay growth. Remember your wins too. Remember the progress you've made. Train your mind to remember the moments of confidence, improvement, and resilience. That is why at times I told, record yourself playing and then watch those videos before you go into a game. Number 3, learn to receive correction without shame. Correction is not rejection. Good coaching is meant to develop you, not to destroy you. Don't personalize any form of correction, okay, or every correction. Separate your worth from feedback. Correction lazima mse. If you want to grow in this life, if you want to grow in this game, you must love correction. Go after correction actually, okay. Number 4, speak differently to yourself. Your inner voice matters. Your spirit man matters. That is who you are, so you must learn how to speak to it positively. Some athletes talk to themselves worse than their coaches do. So start replacing things like, unajua, mimi ni mauzo. Unajua, I am trash. I always mess up. I can't do this. I forget plays. You understand? With things like I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm recovering. I belong here. I'm improving every day. I'm showing up for myself. I'm learning these things. I'm a master of these plays. I know my role. I can perform under pressure. And when there's pressure is when I show up. Unajua kituka hii, unaona, kuko build up. The 5th thing is build environments that bring you freedom. Be around coaches, teammates, mentors, friends who bring growth and accountability to you, because environments matter. And an athlete who feels safe grows faster. Confidence grows where shame is removed. And guys, if you follow these steps, I'm pretty sure you'll start growing out of shame. You'll start realizing who you are and whose you are. And I really wanted to have this conversation because I believe there are athletes listening to me right now who are carrying silent battles. And maybe nobody has ever explained to you why you react the way you do, why mistakes affect you deeply, why correction hurts you so much, why you freeze under pressure, why you struggle to believe in yourself. Maybe it is just not basketball. Maybe it is shame. But it's the good thing. Healing is possible. Growth is possible, which will lead to your freedom, which is very possible. And the moment you stop seeing yourself through the lens of shame, you start playing freely again. And free athletes, man, those are dangerous athletes. Hawana shame, hawana uoga or anything. They show up. Unaona. So if this episode spoke to you, share it with your teammate, coach, parent, or athlete who needs to hear this conversation. This has been Hoop Diaries Collins. Hope you guys got some value. Keep growing, keep healing, keep hoping. Remember your game, your responsibility. And if you got value, remember to subscribe. It's your boy Collins Diambo, and I'm out. Peace.
Yo, lace up the kicks, it's that time again. Collins in the lab, letting stories begin. From the court to the mic, he breaking it down. Hoop dreams, real talk, no cap, no clown. Bounce like a dribble, mind sharp like a pivot. Life lessons in the game, he gon' make you feel it. Late nights, bright lights, goals in the fog. Every episode of Gem, welcome to the Lord. On Hoop Diaries, yeah, it's more than a score. It's heart, it's hustle, it's proof at the core. So press play, lean back, let the moment ride. It's Collins on the mic, take that journey inside.